Peace be upon you, my dear friends. How are you tonight? I am delighted to bring you a new story, one I hope will touch your hearts. Our tale this evening is called The Woodcutter and the Enchanted Lemon Tree. The hut was more than a mere dwelling. It was a scar upon the earth, a tangible reflection of the emptiness that had settled in the soul of its inhabitant, Jabir. Its cracked mud walls, like the face of an aged man, moaned with every gust of wind, inviting the cold to enter unbidden. The roof was a frail weave of straw and sticks, long past their strength, weeping under every drop of rain, painting shifting maps of mud and despair across the dirt floor. Inside, nothing deserved to be called furniture, only a heap of straw serving as a bed, and a stone hearth whose ashes had been cold for most winter nights. By the door leaned his rusty axe, his sole companion on his daily pilgrimage to the forest, the silent witness to his fading strength. Jabir himself was a man sculpted more by hardship than by years. His hands were thick and calloused like oak roots, carrying in their cracks the stories of 1,000 felled trees. Yet behind this hardened shell lived a soul hollowed out by poverty. He awoke each dawn to the cry of his empty stomach and fell asleep each night dreaming of a warm meal. His wife Amina was a quiet shadow beside him, a woman whose wisdom had been distilled into patience and acceptance. She worked tirelessly, trying to conjure something out of nothing, mending a worn garment for the 10th time, or brewing herbs in boiling water and calling it soup. Her eyes carried an old sorrow, yet they never lost the soft gleam of tenderness that Jabir feared would one day fade. That night, the howling wind sang a funeral dirge outside. Jabir sat before the hearth, rubbing his hands in a futile attempt to summon warmth from memory. He looked at the damp branches beside him, the last of his firewood, knowing they would yield only smoke to sting the eyes, not heat to chase the cold. He sighed deeply, a sigh carrying the weight of the world. How can a woodcutter fail to bring wood to his own home? This question lashed him with shame. He remembered the autumn gone by, when the sun was still kind and the forest generous. But despair had dulled his spirit, and he had postponed work to a tomorrow that never came. Believing the forest an endless treasury, now he paid the price, frozen to the bone. He covered the sleeping Amina with their tattered cloak and curled beside her, stealing what warmth he could from her breath. He dreamed of a great fire consuming the hut, the poverty, and the world itself, but awoke to a colder reality. At the first pale thread of dawn, Jabir rose, performed his ablutions with water sharp as glass, prayed and begged God to change his fate, to grant him sustenance from where he least expected. He kissed Amina's forehead, still asleep, and stepped out to meet his destiny. The other huts of the village already breathed warm smoke through their chimneys. Faint lanterns glowed behind frosted windows, and distant laughter reached his ears. He felt a pang of loneliness, as if he were a stranger in his own world. He walked past the last cottage, deeper into the forest, where the dawn light revealed a realm of shadows and ghosts. The trees stood bare like ancient skeletons, the silence thick, broken only by the crunch of his boots on frozen leaves. He sought firewood, but deep inside, he sought a miracle, something to whisper that tomorrow might be different.
As Jabir ventured deeper, the forest began to change. The trees grew older, grander, silent guardians of untold secrets. He felt himself shrink before their majesty, his axe seeming a mere toy in the face of nature's vast power. A strange pull guided him onward, toward a place he had never seen. The air grew sweeter, alive, and the silence turned into a faint whisper, as if the forest itself were breathing. Suddenly, he found himself standing at the edge of a circular clearing, untouched by human hands. The ground was carpeted in vivid green grass, spring reigning there while winter still ruled beyond. And in the very center, where golden beams of sunlight poured like a divine cascade, stood a lemon tree, unlike any other. It was not merely a tree, it was a celebration of life itself. Its emerald leaves glistened as if jeweled with dew. Its silvery trunk shone like polished metal, and from its branches hung enormous lemons, each the size of a child's head, glowing not yellow, but molten gold. They shimmered with an inner light, casting a warm glow upon the grass. Jabir froze in awe. Was this a mirage born of hunger and exhaustion? He stepped closer, cautiously, afraid to disturb a dream. He reached out, touched one of the fruits, and warmth coursed through his veins. Its fragrance was sweet and invigorating, stirring his weary heart back to life. For a moment, he forgot his hunger, his cold, his sorrow, and simply marveled. But soon, practicality and hunger reclaimed him. "This is heaven's gift," he whispered. "If I cut it down, I'll have enough wood for a year, and if I sell its fruit, I'll be rich." Desire replaced wonder. He lifted his axe, ready to strike the shining trunk, but before steel met bark, the tree shuddered, and a voice, deep and resonant as the earth itself, spoke. "In the name of God, stop, O son of Adam. Is this how you repay beauty with destruction, life with death?" The axe slipped from Jabir's trembling hand. "Who's there?" he stammered. The voice flowed again, gentle as wind through leaves. "I am the spirit of this forest, dwelling within this tree you dare to harm." Jabir staggered backward. I meant no harm," he said. "I am a poor man, cold and hungry. I only seek warmth for my wife and myself." The branches swayed softly, as though in sympathy. "I see the hardship in your heart, Jabir, but your axe is not the answer. Spare me, and I shall grant you a gift far greater than firewood or fruit. Ask, but ask wisely." Jabir could hardly believe his ears. Was this the miracle he had prayed for? 1,000 desires battled within him, yet what he spoke was simple, born of pure need.
"I seek no gold, no treasure. All I ask is a warm home, a roof that does not weep in the rain, a small garden for my wife to tend, a horse to aid my work, and a cow to give us milk each morning. I only wish to live with dignity." A soft light emanated from the tree. "Your wish is pure, Jabir. Return home. You shall find your dignity waiting." He ran back through the forest, heart pounding with hope and disbelief. When he reached the place of his hut, he stopped short. It was gone. In its place stood a neat white house with a red tiled roof. Amina stood at the doorway, tears of joy in her eyes. Together they explored their new home, firm walls, soft bedding, cupboards brimming with food. In the garden grazed a cow, and nearby a proud horse neighed. That night, for the first time, they slept warm and full. Before sleep claimed him, Amina whispered, "Let this be our secret, Jabir. Hidden blessings endure." The months that followed were sweet as honey. Jabir's strength returned. Amina's cheeks regained their glow. They worked together in their garden, laughter returning to their days. But prosperity, like the midday sun, reveals what the shadows conceal. Change crept into Jabir's heart, slow and silent, like rust on gold. He was no longer the humble woodcutter. He was Jabir, the gentleman, the owner of fine things. At the market, he mingled not with laborers, but with merchants. He saw their wives adorned in silk and jewels. And when he looked at Amina's plain cotton dress and work-worn hands, shame pricked his pride.
He no longer saw her the faithful partner of his hardship, but a reminder of the poverty he wished to forget. Her simplicity annoyed him. Her quiet wisdom became an irritation. One evening, as she served his meal, he looked at her hands and said coldly, "Can't you take better care of yourself? Look at your hands. They're like a peasant's." Amina froze, her hand trembling slightly, but said nothing. That was the first wound. From that day, cracks widened. He found fault in her cooking, her speech, her clothes, anything to justify his growing discontent. The devil whispered, "You deserve better. A man of your stature needs a wife of beauty and grace, not a reminder of your poor past." He resisted at first, but the poison spread. He told himself lies to numb his guilt. Then one dawn, he made his wicked choice. He took his axe and crept away, ashamed yet driven by desire. When he reached the enchanted tree, he struck its trunk with the axe's handle. The tree sighed, a sound of sorrow and disappointment. He became the village chief. At first, power thrilled him, but soon the burdens crushed him. Petty disputes, endless reports, sleepless nights, and above all, fear. Fear of losing what he had, fear of the unseen hand of the Sultan. And when a messenger from the capital humiliated him, his pride shattered. He began to despise the very power he had begged for. Driven by despair, he sought one last escape. If I become Sultan, he thought, there will be no one left to fear. So once more, before dawn, he ran to the forest. With madness in his eyes, he struck the tree with all his might. Golden sap bled like tears. "Enough, Jabir!" cried the spirit. "Every wish brings you closer to ruin. Will you never learn?" "This is the last one," he screamed. "Make me Sultan and free me from fear."
This is for those who dream.
"Fool,"
Not those who
whispered the
move.
tree. "The throne is not gold, it is fire. It will burn your peace and your soul. But so be it. Your lesson must be complete."
You'll be free.
When he returned, the royal guards awaited him.
Chains
The
break
Sultan
from
had
those
died
who
suddenly,
hold them.
leaving a decree naming Jabir as heir. The magic's final deceit. He was crowned amidst splendor, yet inside he was hollow. He sat upon the throne, thousands bowing before him, and felt only dread. War came swiftly, chaos spread, and Jabir discovered that crowns are heavier than chains. Fear devoured him until he fled, discarding crown and robe, vanishing into the forest. He found the lemon tree dying, its leaves pale, its light gone. He fell to his knees, sobbing, "Forgive me, take everything back. I want nothing but my old hut, Amina, and peace." "Amina," the tree whispered, "was your true treasure, but you cast her away. Every wish you made demanded its price, and now my magic is spent. Your lesson is learned." Its last leaves fell, like curtains closing on a tragedy. The enchanted tree stood bare and lifeless. Moments later, enemy soldiers found Jabir, dragged him before their king. When asked who he was, he answered quietly, "I was never a king, only a woodcutter whom fate deceived." The wise king listened to his tale, sighed, and said, "Your greed has punished you enough. Go, you are free." Jabir wandered aimlessly until he reached his old village. There stood his humble hut, unchanged. He knocked softly. Amina opened the door. In her eyes, he saw home, forgiveness, and love. She said nothing, only stepped aside and offered him bread and water. He sat on the dirt floor and wept, tasting the finest meal of his life. The next morning, he lifted his old axe, feeling its familiar weight. He looked at his cottage, his wife, the distant forest, and at last peace filled his heart. He had lost the world to find himself again.